Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in and thanks to the Masari team for putting this together. My name is Ricky Dodds and I lead strategy and communication efforts for the ICON project. I'm excited to walk you through the latest developments within the ICON ecosystem. But before we hop into the slides, I'll just give a quick brief introduction of myself. So I joined ICON in 2018. Prior to joining ICON, I worked in traditional finance, mainly covering financial institutions from an investment banking perspective. Today I'm going to give a quick one-on-one on the project. Then I'll dive straight into tech updates, use case, and community. And then after that, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. So with that, let's hop in. I like to start presentations with this slide because it really encapsulates what the ICON project is all about. At a high level, ICON is an interoperability project with goals to allow transfer of value and information across different communities. We like to think of ICON Network as a bridge between private and public chains, but also as a base layer platform and community in its own right. ICX governs the network and also powers smart contracts and other transactions, and is used for collateral and other use cases. There's a lot going on this page with enterprise on the right-hand side, public blockchains on the left. But after I walk you through the deck, you'll have a better sense of what ICON is all about. But before we get there, I want to briefly mention the two main entities focused on expanding the ICON ecosystem. One is the ICON Foundation, which is a Swiss nonprofit formed to support the development of ICON. The other is ICON Loop, which is ICON Project's technology and ecosystem expansion partner. This is a for-profit enterprise blockchain and software development firm contracted to help build the ICON ecosystem. The next slide walks through the histories of these entities. I won't spend too much time here, but the takeaway is that ICON Project was started in 2017, was born out of the experience we had in enterprise blockchain going back as early as 2015. We saw the need for interoperability as traditional technology stacks have been built in silos, and the exchange of information was always painful. We really shaped the project around some of the shortfalls in our experience working with those enterprise companies. And here's where we sit today. ICON is one of the largest projects globally, and the largest project in Korea. We continue to see strong growth in community and adoption, and over the next few slides, I think you'll have a better sense of what ICON is all about. So this will be the format of the presentation. I'll walk through the technology, talk about real use case, and then lastly, I'll touch on community. But first, let's talk about technology. So ICON is a base layer technology similar to Ethereum. It runs on Loop Chain, the core blockchain engine also powering many networks across Korea, designed by our ecosystem partner ICON Loop. It's been recognized as a standard blockchain platform by Seoul Metropolitan Government, has been implemented by leading corporations in Korea such as Kyoba Life Insurance, Samsung, and Saruman. Outside of Korea, Line, which is Japan's leading messaging app, is using Loop Chain for developing blockchain services. Another key highlight of our technology is our consensus algorithm, LFT2. So LFT2 is a derivative of PBFT that allows for fast finality and throughput by reducing the number of phases to commit a block from 3 to 2. So simplifying the proposed vote commit phases to 2 phases. This was recently audited by a leading research university in Korea, and they noted an improvement versus prior PBFT-based mechanisms while also guaranteeing safety and liveness. This is the first novel consensus algorithm coming out of Korea, so we're really proud of the team behind it. Last but not least is BTP, which stands for Blockchain Transmission Protocol. This is the piece of technology that really defines what our project is all about. We believe that in order to really capture blockchain's full potential, we need distinct protocols to have compatible ways to interact and communicate with each other. And with BTP, we have that ability. We recently released a POC last week where we focused on private to public interchain, but the architecture expands beyond that. So our partner ICON Loop has a DID product called MyID that will run on a private network at the start. As you know, private networks are closed networks, so only those parties inside the network can use the info. So right now, that's about 60 parties in the MyID consortium. But with BTP, MyID could broaden its usability. So by using smart contracts and a relayer mechanism on private and public chains, MyID could be used across any company in Korea interested in a digital identity or authentication solution. We're currently exploring use cases with the MyID team. So I just introduced MyID briefly, but I want to go over how important MyID is to our ecosystem. So MyID is a digital identity product developed by ICONLoop. It was selected for the FSC regulatory sandbox to provide a blockchain-based digital identity approved for financial services. Think highest level KYC AML grade digital identity, and think of the FSC as basically an SEC equivalent for Korea. So as I mentioned before, it's currently being built on a private network using Loopchain, and its consortium members include some of the biggest companies in Korea. MyID is set to launch this month, and like many, we believe that digital identity will be a key area of focus in the coming years. We believe it can serve as a bridge for offline and digital economies, and you can unlock a lot of potential with cross-chain interoperability. Additionally, you can add some Sybil resistance to a network and some compliance. The next slide just shows some of the different parties in the consortium. One interesting item to note is we're seeing a lot of interest from exchanges recently. In the past 2 months, both Bithumb and Binance Korea have joined, and we're exploring more additions. We have some of the other leading companies across financial services, tech, and industrials in the consortium, so it's fairly well balanced. MyID isn't the only product we're really excited about. Broof, which is a digital certificate service, and VisitMe, which is a visitor access management service, also run on Icon, and both are seeing great traction. And I'll give a couple of examples. Broof was recently used to issue digital diplomas for post-tech university. So due to COVID, there was no graduation ceremony, and instead 828 graduates received an email letter with a QR code linked to their blockchain stored diploma. It was very well received by both students, our graduates, and post-tech university. We're seeing more interest in this product. And VisitMe is being used at 2 of the largest office buildings in Seoul. Its contactless solution to visitor access management is in high demand, given COVID worries. We're seeing a lot of interest in onboarding new clients for this service, particularly in the startup office scene. So as you can see, we have a number of positive tailwinds for the product's adoption. But that was just the core team activity. We haven't really touched on community or broader ecosystem or any other great things that are happening. So let's take a step back. So we're back at the slide where we opened the presentation with, and I hope this diagram makes a little bit more sense now that you've heard about our interchain technology, our ecosystem partner ICONLoop, and then some of the enterprise relationships we have. However, there are a few items on this slide that we really haven't covered, so the next couple slides will spin focus there. So a recap, Icon launched its Ski POS design in September of last year, and since then growth has really taken off as our incentive system seeks to reward those who contribute most to the network. The network is governed by 125 representatives, voted in by ICX holders who act as validators and block producers on the network. So since September, we've seen wallets with balances increase threefold, and the social engagement and activity has increased substantially. We consistently rank highly in engagement alongside some of the top projects in the space. And I'd argue we have one of the most passionate communities throughout the entire public blockchain space. ICX was one of the top performing assets in Q1. I think partly driving that is the relatively attractive staking reward, including one of the higher real yields across the space. So think of real yield as your staking yield net of the inflation rate of the entire network. Currently we have 125 public representatives on our network from over 35 different countries, which are helping to expand our reach outside of Korea. These are all organic groups, so it's really great to see. We're seeing a lot of activity not only on the community side, but also on the development, infrastructure, and even teams helping in the design of ICONLoop products. Here are a few examples we've seen since September. One is a non-custodial mobile and desktop wallet for staking and governance. Another is a DeFi project called Balanced, which blends a mix of synthetics, maker, and compound all in one. Many probably don't know this, but Icon already powers one of the more active DApp ecosystem by user base, behind Tron, ETH, and EOS. We're seeing a lot of interest and activity to expand beyond this, which is really great. So lastly, I'll just highlight a new program designed to further the growth of our ecosystem called the CPS, our Contribution Proposal System. So we see this funding many items, including core development, infrastructure, new applications, and even marketing. So with this, later this year, a portion of block rewards will be set aside to create a decentralized funding pool managed by public representatives. You can find out more information about the mechanics of this fund on our forum, but in short, it will act as a decentralized grant proposal system where the community can request funding for their respective projects, and these will be either approved or denied based on on-chain votes, and then the funds distributed by a smart contract. So previously, most of the funding and grant decision-making processes have come from the foundation. However, this design opens it up to the community and representatives and aligns more with the ethos of our project. So I walked you through the technology, some of the partners and products and services using our technology, and more importantly, the community around the project. It's been really amazing to see the progression since I joined in 2018, and a lot of pieces are starting to fall into place, particularly over the past several months. And with that, I'll turn it over to you guys for any questions you may have. Thanks for tuning in.